There's a fairly good-sized monastery of Trappists up in the Genesee Valley of New York State. And all week long they had several sessions practicing the new liturgy for today. And I got an email this morning telling me that when the abbot said, "The Lord be with you," they all said, "and also with you," except for one monk. So if you make mistakes, don't feel bad. We've just come through a year in which we have been told on good authority from a gentleman in California that the end of the world and the second coming of Christ was to occur twice, if you remember, on May the 21st, and then it was postponed until October 21st, and here we still are. So it's refreshing to hear what the Scripture actually has to say about the Lord's return. The first coming of Jesus, which we will commemorate, I guess, in a few weeks at Christmas time, is something which is history, of course, and we live in the light and the life of that great mystery of God's becoming one of us. The future coming of Christ is something which is, in a certain sense, out of our control, but not entirely, because we are told that Jesus will return when the time is ripe, when the world is ready, has been readied. And of course, we see ourselves, according to Jesus' teaching, as the actors and the doers in that readying of the world for the Lord's return, so that the universe can be presented to the Father by Christ in its fullness. And you say, well, how could we be involved with that? Well, we're involved in it because we constantly look for and anticipate His coming, not in the past and not in the future, but in the present. And we do that by the directions which we were given in last Sunday's Gospel by St. Matthew. And Jesus says, you know, you have done something for me when you have done it for my brothers and sisters. And so we know that the coming of Christ, in a certain sense, is in our hands, because we are the ones who are enjoined to go out and treat each other as if we were Christ. And we say, well, you know, how can I feed Christ? How can I visit Christ? How can I take care of Christ's needs? And the way we do it is by taking care of each other's needs. And not only the physical ones. They're rather easy. It's very easy to feed the hungry if you have the means, or to the extent that you have the means. But feeding the deeper hungers of the human family requires much more of us. It's a much more giving or giving up of ourself in order to meet these needs of other people. It takes time. It takes willingness. It takes energy. And sometimes it takes suffering in order to meet those needs. But we know that this is the coming of Christ, the daily coming that we are responsible for, and that is in our hands. The early Christians, the first Christians, believed that Jesus was to return in their lifetime. And they were wrong. Our generation of Christians have pretty much convinced ourselves that He's not coming back in our lifetime. And we might be wrong.